starting the recording. This little 15-minute mini session is focused on isolating customizations with drop zones. And it's a fast version of a longer demo that we have on our YouTube channel. You're welcome to get the full demo there. We have these 15-minute sessions have been great so far, and we hope they've been useful for you. We have a lot more coming. So we're here at the end of day 2, but we have many more tomorrow and Thursday. Please feel free to join us for any of those, and we will go from there. I will pause for 3 seconds for you to hit Windows Shift S if you're on a Windows machine to take a screenshot. Okay, and so quickly, drop zones. The basic question, what is a drop zone? It is a tool to add custom fields. And I'm sorry, I'm going to mute everybody, but you are welcome to unmute yourself if you have a question, or to put a question in the chat window, which I will make sure I have open here so that I can see anyone with comment. So drop zones are a tool to add custom fields to delivered pages without modifying delivered objects. So if you have a component that you need more fields on, and you can use this to gather additional data without having to modify the underlying field or the underlying page. The skill set, this is a technical skill set. So to use drop zones, you need App Designer access, and you also will have some PIA configuration that we'll go through here. You will be developing a new subpage, record objects, possibly style sheets, and it helps to know the component name and market for the target component before you get started. They are available starting in 8.5.7 for Fluid and 8.5.8 for Classic. The images, now one thing to remember is, as you'll see from our recorded demo, being on a PeopleTools version that supports drop zones does not necessarily mean that the page that you want to put the drop zone on has a drop zone. For the page to have a drop zone so that you can leverage it and put new fields on it, you need to be on a supported image. For HCM, the drop zones began to be released with image 30, FSCM image 31, CS image 14. Finding the list, I've got some documentation here from those images, but the list is, these lists are out of date because they get longer all the time. I'll show you the best way to see, the best way to get in there to see what drop zones are available in your instance is to go to the Configure Drop Zones page, and I'll show you the navigation in our demo here, and search to see what drop zones are available in your instance. I'll say for the first of probably 3 times, it does not help to add a drop zone to a page, because the whole idea of avoiding a customization is to not customize the underlying page. If you add a drop zone to the page, you are customizing it. So the value is in using a delivered page that has a drop zone on it and using that drop zone to add your own fields. So here is a quick how-to, which we will then run through a video of. The steps we're going to go through are to create a Fluid subpage. This is for a Fluid drop zone. A Fluid subpage with your new fields on it. You're going to use the PSL Simple subpage page layout. You're going to then assign the subpage to an existing drop zone, and then you can style the subpage as you wish, which we're not going to do in this brief demo. So here is where we're going to add a drop zone. This is the Fluid Manage Positions page in HCM, and we're going to add a few new fields that will allow us to gather additional information about this position. To do so, we're going to come in App Designer and create a new subpage. We'll start with a fluid page, and we're going to select the PSL simple subpage layout and give it a new name of our choosing. And say yes about people code, copying people code. So now we have a blank page, and we can then change it to be a subpage. So instead of a standard page, we want it to be a subpage. Now we have a blank slate that we can work with. Now you'll see I already have a record defined here, and one thing to comment about here, you're going to need to build your own record, because otherwise you will end up customizing a delivered record, and we're trying to avoid customizations. So in this case, I'm building what will end up being a sibling record to the position data, the fluid position data record. So it has the same keys as the new fluid position management or position data table, same keys but different fields. That will make it a sibling. That does somewhat complicate your queries, because when you want to query that includes data from the delivered record and from your new fields, you'll need to join those records in order to get these additional fields in there. But it's worth doing to avoid that customization or that modification to the system. So I'm just going to drag these over, carefully position them just the way that I want, and you'll see in a minute how well that works out, because again, this is fluid development. It is not what you see is what you get. So even though I'm arranging them in two neat columns, you're going to see that doesn't work. So now having saved that subpage, that's all I have to do in People Tools. The next step is to navigate into the Configure Drop Zones area. You get there from People Tools, Portal, and then down to the bottom, you will find Configure Drop Zones. Now here, if you just hit search with nothing else, it'll bring up a list of all the drop zones in your instance. As you can see, we built this demo when off of an instance where there were no drop zones. This was an 857 instance, but it was an early enough PUM when we built this demo that there were no drop zones released. We did actually have to create one in order to do this demo. You should see a long list. And that's the list of components that are candidates for you to put your drop zone on. So I'm going to select the position data fluid page, and then I select my subpage that I just created that I'm going to put on this page. Remember that although you're only seeing one here, most pages that have drop zones on them will have multiple drop zones. One at the top, one at the bottom, and sometimes one in the middle. You're going to want to choose whichever one is where you want your information to go. Now, subpages can be used for more than fields. They can be used to add charts, to add instructional text, to add videos, whatever you want. Any content that you can put on a subpage, you can put in a drop zone and use to extend the functionality of a delivered component without modifying that component. Okay, so that's all I need to do is select that and save it. And now I have associated that subpage with the drop zone on this delivered page. When I navigate back in, and scroll down, we'll see 3 new fields that have been added to the component without actually modifying this page. And once I go through and save this and flip over to a query tool, you'll be able to see that I have stored data in that table as a result. Again, in order to merge that with other data from that component, I would need to do a query with a join and pull my new fields in along with everything else. Okay, so again, a few things to consider. Drop zones only prevent modifications to the page that you want to add fields to if that page already has a drop zone delivered for it. Adding a drop zone, which you can do, but again, it defeats the purpose of isolating or removing or avoiding a customization. In 857, drop zones are only available for fluid pages. 858, they became available for classic pages. And which pages have drop zones depends on your application's PUM release. The best way to see for your existing release is to go into configure drop zones, as I said, and look it up. Remember that drop zones add fields to the component buffer. So they are subject to the same page order and level restrictions and rules as regular page development. So if you put a drop zone in at a level above level 0, you're not going to be able to add another database record to that. So there are some restrictions as to how this is going to work. The nice thing about it being in the component buffer is that it does work for, drop zones do work for, component interfaces. Component interfaces can update drop zone added fields. And then we have some documentation added here. Drop zones can be nested. You can have a drop zone inside a drop zone. Who knows why you would want to do that? And again, it would have to be delivered. I have a question. Are drop zones available for CRM pages? I do not know the answer to that. I don't know if CRM has incorporated drop zones. That's a great question. And if you want to send me with a private post your contact information, I'm happy to research that, get back to you on that. I do not know on CRM at what level drop zones have been released. Another question in chat, we have applied our customizations to a voucher drop zone. However, we are not having success using Data Migration Workbench to migrate our drop zone configuration from our development database to system test database. Can you provide some guidance on how to migrate the drop zone configuration? All I can say off of what I know is that Data Migration Workbench is how you're supposed to migrate it. We'd need to look and research to see what's going wrong there. I guess a follow-up question would be whether you are using an Oracle delivered Data Migration Workbench configuration to try to migrate that, or if you're doing it yourself. I do believe that there is a delivered pattern to do that migration. But yes, you're supposed to be able to migrate with Data Migration Workbench. Okay, any other questions? Our 15 minutes are up, but I can stay a little longer if anyone has questions. Again, I will be posting, if you jumped on after I said it, if you want to make sure that you get a recording of this, please go to our virtual booth, click on Questopoly, and sign up for our drawing. You'll also get a post-session or a post-conference email with this recording in it. Any other questions? You can either come off mute and ask, or you can post in the chat. Have another one. Do you recommend creating custom table when adding fields to drop zone instead of customizing the delivered record? Yes. You should create a custom table with the same keys as the record that you are trying to add the fields to. That way you'll store the same key structure, and you'll be able to create a query that treats those as sibling records. Okay. Any additional questions? We will, if you would like to chat with us directly, again, you can go to our virtual booth, and we have we have a live chat session that we always have open, and you're welcome to talk with us there with any additional questions. Isolating customizations is one of the services that we provide. We're all about helping people have custom features inside of PeopleSoft, and we do that both by using our eForms product that helps create developmentless customizations and fluid applications, and through other related services.
Paul, did you see the question that just came in on chat?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't scrolled down far enough for that one. Let's see. Do you recommend creating custom table? Let's see. When we do compares during upgrade, will the compare report show the custom drop zone added to the page? There's a difference between a custom table and a custom drop zone. If you use a delivered drop zone, it's basically just a box that that's delivered on the page that you can put whatever you want in it. So as long as you don't add the box, as long as you use a box that's already delivered, that's on the page already, then when you put the fields in from your custom table, that will not show up on your upgrade because you will not have changed any delivered objects. That's why you want to use the custom table, because otherwise if you add fields to an existing table, you will have customized that table and it will impact your upgrade. So yeah, the goal is to use drop zones that are already provided on the page, and then put your own subpage in that drop zone to expose those fields to the user without modifying the delivered object. Thank you for the question. Let's see, any others? We've still got a good group of people on the call. You're welcome to pop in any other questions or comments. Sorry, there's a question. Is there a couple of questions? Let's see, is there any document for custom drop zone that you can share? Let's see, I'm trying to think if we actually went through, and of course we did add that custom drop zone, but and thank you, Scott. I got your note about drop zones on CRM pages. I will get you an answer back. Let's see here. As far as adding custom drop zones, I don't know if I have a document on that, but if you would like us to walk you through a demo of that, I can do that privately at least. So if you're interested in that, send us a private message. We also have a question about whether you can use page and field configurator on drop zone fields. And I am not certain on that one. I think that the answer, may be no on that, but I can also research that if you like. The question would be whether those fields would be displayed in the page and field configurator lookup, but I don't think that they're going to be in there. but they could surprise me. I also did not think that they would work in component interface, but they do. So our friends at Oracle might surprise us and support that.